Welcome to episode 73 of Nobody Special.
In this episode, we talk about Trump, ice cream, and sin.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special. Two nobodies talking about the somebody who matters. I'm Danny, your face-stealing Soviet and host of Nobody Special.
Now, I'm Caleb, your other host of Nobody Special. This is a show where two generations of people will talk about pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously. Welcome to the show,
Hi,
Daniel.
Caleb.
Yes.
2019 is insane.
It is insane.
Okay, first of all, James Charles showed up on a stream with PewDiePie, and they're playing Minecraft together, and none of that makes sense to me. Let's just go ahead and point that out.
Who are those two people?
Yeah, no idea. Most important, I think we have a couple people checking out our show for the first time, so shout out to my maintenance crew for fixing my oven, which tried to kill you.
Oh, yeah, that's a fun story.
Yeah, so we were making enchiladas and editing something. I don't know. The oven just like exploded, and he was closer, and I now see the humor in it.
Yeah.
But at the time,
It was freaky.
Yeah.
I was. There's a window right there, but I was talking to Danny with my back to the stove. I just hear this loud noise, and there's like sparks flying out from behind me and like flames.
Blue arc, yes. It
And-
was, see, his back, it was to it, so he doesn't know how bad it actually was, and I'm just not going to tell him. It was pretty bad. I was like, well.
And I was like trapped in the corner while I was just spewing stuff out. It was pretty terrifying.
No, so true story. I was probably about, was that like 20 feet away? I was probably 20 feet away.
20 feet? No, you're sitting right here.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. How
like-
far is that?
That's like 15 max.
15. Okay, 15 feet away.
Less.
You were probably about 1 foot.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. So, all right, true story though. This is why you can't take me anywhere in public, because I was explaining the problem to the maintenance people who by the way, super chill, amazing people, and they're great. And I'm really sad that the only time I'm going to see them is if I like break stuff in my apartment, which I'm
Yeah.
not going to do. Wink.
Gosh.
No, and I was kind of tired, so I made a joke. I said, and probably the strangest thing that happened is that during that whole process, somebody peed my pants. And I said
Classic
that joke
Danny.
out loud, and and he didn't think it was funny at first, and then he got it. He's like, "Oh, that's funny." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, good." Ah, that was so scary. I thought like I am not a functional human being, and that's going to be how he knows me. Is like that's a weird man. So,
Yeah.
yeah. No, so that was crazy. People are planning on storming Area 51. People are talking about that, but we're not talking about it today. We're gonna talk about it
We're going
more
to save that.
for another
Just
episode.
you wait. Because that's a whole lot of craziness.
So if that's the thing that you're interested in having us film some video of us doing the Naruto run, smash
Send us
that
there.
like button.
Buy our plane tickets. We'll go.
No, we won't. We will not go.
I would
No.
actually love to visit
Nah.
that area, though.
Like Nevada. Sorry, this is for the other episode. We'll
Yeah,
save
yeah.
this because I think
We'll
it's
save this.
September 20th they're doing it. Russians are stealing our faces. 2019 is crazy.
Newsflash.
Russians are stealing our faces. So there's been this this app going around, the Face Swap app.
Face app.
Face app.
Yeah.
Nope, never mind.
I
Nope,
don't want
nope,
to know. what's
you
about to
don't.
come
You
out of
really
your mouth.
don't. Nope, we're good. People have been saying it's a really cool app, posting pictures, and then someone actually read the terms of service, or as it's been explained to me, the thing Christians lie the most about.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read the terms of service? Sure. Apparently, they get to. I mean, they're scanning a face and keeping the data in perpetuity for however they want to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So someone made the comment that it's possible I could show up on an ad on a Russian billboard because it's by a Russian parent company. but it's probably just that they're scanning data for face biometric AI type stuff.
That's kind of cool. You can steal my face.
Well, I mean,
put it to better use than it's being used right now.
I'd say the concept is cool. The reality is a bit scary. Yeah.
I mean, this face app has been around for a while.
Yeah.
And
It made everyone the other gender about a month ago.
no, it was Snapchat.
Oh, I thought they were like using
No.
the same technology.
I mean, it's probably the same
Is
technology,
it the same people?
but actually, face app is just photos. Snapchat is like live video where it maps it to your face. But like,
I thought that was done through the same thing. Is it not?
No, that was Snapchat. I downloaded Snapchat specifically so I could see what I looked like as a girl. And me and Danny are going to put these in the podcast right there because that's a fun thing. And let's show our old ones too. Right here. I'll do it.
Forgot I sent you that photo.
You did it
and
on
right
my phone.
now,
Oh, yeah.
I am regretting having sent you that photo.
Danny's like biting his lip and everything.
Oh,
So
no, don't
it's
send that
awesome.
one. Don't send that.
yeah, that's the only one you sent. But
She was cute though. I don't know. I look like just a sad old man.
it's pretty funny.
If that's how I'm gonna be at 80, I don't want to make it to 80.
I'm
like,
pretty
seriously,
pleased with how I look as an old
I
person.
look terrible.
Oh, that's funny.
No, it's that. See, that messed me up that night. I don't think you understand. That really
Yeah,
messed
I
me
saw
up.
your face when you saw
I was
it, and
like,
you went
oof.
through you went through a crisis.
I did
A
because I was
mini
just
crisis.
like, I'm sad, I'm old. It was really bad. Anyway, 2019's kind of shaping up to be amazing.
But I
Um,
mean, on the stealing your faces thing, just know that you post pictures of your face on Instagram and Facebook, which are definitely stealing.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
Multiple Senate hearings, and
Yeah.
they're like, no, yeah, we have that data. All right, so Facebook, it's possible to go in and request a file of all the data that they have on you. I did that. They stored every chat I've ever sent in Facebook anything.
Wait, you can do that?
Yes. They store it all.
How do you request that?
It's buried in there, but after some of the Senate hearings, they did that. I mean, this is the thing I was talking about earlier off show. People are scared that all these tech things are listening into a microphone and all that. They're not. Multiple tech people have said they're not doing that. What they are doing, though, is mapping a person's personality based on multiple points of data to predict the things that they're interested in doing. There's a documentary coming out about Cambridge Analytica that got in a bunch of trouble for almost election tampering. It's kind of strange how they did it, but they didn't get in any trouble because we willingly gave them the information.
Yeah.
Period. So they're not paying attention to
True.
our conversations because they're not that bored, but they have mapped us by over 500 data points.
Yeah.
I tried to explain this to my grandma, who is scared of people trying to hack her email and get into her email account. I was like, Grandma, here's the thing that you got to understand. And I love my grandma. I adore her. She is great. Hi, Nancy. And Sue. I love you both. And I've had to explain this. If hackers are trying to get into your bank account, they're already in. And that's just what you have to know. You are not going to stop the hackers from getting in. Because I have explained, and I love them dearly, but I have helped them check their email. So I don't think these are going to be the people squaring off against the hackers. Now, granted, Grandma, if you are, it's pretty tight. But I don't think they're going to be like, hold on, I have to back hack.
Gosh.
That would be amazing.
That'd be a great grandma to
Right?
have. Where are you at, Grandma? You protecting me?
Still has a nose ring and blue hair, like, even at 85, I'm still punk, That'd be great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, kind of the same thing on the face stealing stuff. They already have it. I mean, do you know about alt tags on pictures?
It sounds familiar, but no.
Okay, so alt
Explain.
tags on pictures, if a web page can't pull up all the data and pull up the picture, it'll pull up the alt tag. It comes up as an alternate tag.
Yeah.
So these tend to be back-end things that are added and help to classify things and also help SEO, that kind of stuff. Instagram, I figured out after I had really bad internet connection and I was off Wi-Fi, the alt tags are things that identified in the picture. And it was infant, male, such and such, age this.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about now.
Crazy. They have your data.
Yeah. That's like, I was watching a YouTube video where they were just like, no, actually Google has it. You can upload a photo and search Google by that photo.
Yeah.
So like if you put a selfie of yourself and there's like stuff in the background, it'll like
All
it's
right, that's
crazy.
a different process and also creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, just get used to it. People are stealing your stuff, or not stealing,
Well,
because
not-
you willingly are giving. You like, if we
I
actually
mean-
read the terms of service, we would know that. I feel like it's actually important, like just as you freaking read a contract for a job you're about to take. I feel like it's kind of important. It may be boring, but if you're really that worried about it, you probably should be doing it. So.
Right. I mean, yes.
But also, you'd be like completely
don't
disconnected from the world.
Want to read 20 pages of content so I can play Angry Birds. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So, and I think people, it's important to understand that things put on the internet and things stated public can get dissected and torn apart by anybody out there.
Yeah.
Including things that are tweeted or said at an election rally.
Yes.
Gosh, has there been a public figure who recently made the news for saying things at a rally that have then turned into a soundbite?
Trying to think. Let's look at our crystal ball here.
Gosh,
I see the color orange. Oh my gosh.
I'd say let's go through the Democratic candidates, but it's not that long of a podcast.
Who do we know that is orange?
I don't know, but Orange Man bad. No.
Oompa Loompas?
So Trump, here's the deal. I'm not sure how long we're going to talk about this topic, but we're just going to go for it.
Yes.
Trump has gotten into trouble because of his, what are we calling it? A spat? A tiff?
Yes.
A
tiff. A
to
spat. I've
a
never heard
few-
either of those words. But
Oh, they're fun. To a few of the freshman Congress women who have been mouthing off and saying a few things that are frankly, to be honest, kind of anti-American. I do agree that they've said some things that are anti-American.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be clear here. They're not in
one
the
of which
right.
doesn't know the branches of the government. That's
Dude,
fine. That's another topic.
There's a
but-
lot. She doesn't. She can make a mean mixed drink, though.
Yeah?
Alexandria
Hey, that's what we need.
Ocasio-Cortez. Actually, all right, so kind of side note. A Jamaican female is running against her coming up, and it's looking like she's going to get it. So
Ooh.
AOC will have one good term.
But
and then
can she
peace.
make mixed drinks? I mean, I feel like out of all the
No,
skills
instead
that
she has
a
political
congresswoman
experience.
needs, I think that mixology is that's it. That's where it's at. That's what I'm looking for.
The sad part is you're not necessarily wrong.
Can you
and I
make a
think that's
mean
funny.
apple teeny? If you can't, get out of my face. All right. That's how it goes.
So anyway, they've been saying things that are anti-American, and just they've generally been towing the line of impeach 42, 45, whatever number we are. Go back and impeach. Who was 42?
I don't know.
Is that Bush Sr.?
I don't know.
Let's get him
I
out,
wasn't
too.
paying attention to politics at that time.
I mean, they've been pro-impeach 42 for reasons they'll figure out later. Ocasio-Cortez, I don't want to try and pronounce her name because I don't remember what it is. The one that may or may not have married her brother in order to get him into the country. They're checking into it, but it's a pretty messed up thing to say.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty messed up thing to just throw that out. So he
Yeah.
he brought up some, I'd say, valid complaints that were totally ignored by the next thing he said when he said they needed to go back where they came from, which, as in he was saying they need to go to the countries that they're purporting to give their lines to, opposed to American interest. The problem in saying that,
Was that what he was saying though?
the
That's what
problem
I
in
wanna
saying
know.
that is,
Pause real quick. I know what I did wrong. You may have not. Well, just for the audio listeners.
are we just gonna? I was
Yeah,
gonna
we're
cut
gonna
it.
keep this. We're gonna keep this because it's raw. Sorry, the camera. I didn't format the card. Keep it going, Danny.
You didn't format the card. So anyway, he told them they needed to go back where they came from. The problem in saying that is that for Ocasio-Cortez, that place is Brooklyn. So to tell her to go back where she came from is just to go to New York, and that's a bit problematic to just say, I'm kicking you out to the States. So, Trump has always been this provocateur. He's said things to get a rise out of people, but I am not going to be one of those conservatives that doesn't call him out on this stunning tone deaf amount of garbage. As a president, that is highly inappropriate, unprofessional to say about a congresswoman, even if there is a disagreement between them. All those things are terrible things to have said. Also, it establishes a nasty precedent of if I disagree, then they need to go. That is very problematic and not a good expression of a democracy. It belittles a person, the things that they do, their worth as a person. All that comes in under attack because of his purporting to send them off to another country. So in that case, it isn't called a deportation. It's an something. I don't know. It's kicking them out of the country. It's kind of the church equivalent of an excommunication. Do you want to
Right.
turn the thing so we can see
well,
it?
it's not recording because, for some reason, there's only 10 seconds of record time, and I actually did format it.
Battery?
No, the battery's
well,
full.
We'll figure that out later.
Interesting. Yeah.
So anyway, he's not talking about deportation. He's basically kind of threatening to kick them out of the country.
Right.
If they don't come into alignment to his beliefs. And granted, I don't think he's serious.
Yeah.
But he said it.
Right.
And it's gotten to the point that at his campaign rallies, people started chanting, "Send them back, send them back," and no one said boo about that. So, and throughout this entire thing, it's all gone down in the same manner that everyone thought it'd be. The usual suspects of conservatives and Republicans have all come to the defense of Trump, saying, well, actually, what he meant was he was trying to say blah, 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 blah. And the Democrats just kind of, before he even got done speaking, the Senate's pulled out their cards and said, that's probably racist, and fell back on Orange Man bad. The weird part is, it's a little bit racist. Like,
Oh, no, it's not a little bit racist. I mean, because the way I took that is that he's telling them to go back to, like, their nationality of what they were. Like, go back to where you came from.
But they're American. That's the thing.
Well,
They're
yeah,
American.
exactly. That's the problem. He was saying because they look, not because they look Mexican, because their roots are Mexican, that they need to.
One of them is Arabic or something.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
the Cortez person.
Yeah.
That she needs to go back to Mexico, which she belongs in America.
Right.
So that I would say is fairly racist.
I think.
But
So, gosh, I don't want to be that Republican that well, actually, because I think his actions and behaviors
you are, so.
are inexcusable. They do, from my perspective, they do seem to be giving preferential treatment to other countries as opposed to our own country, and especially socialism being incompatible to our current kind of a system. It does come off as if they're anti-American.
Right.
Now, he could have said that a lot better. I'd say maybe try the thing I said. Instead, he said, send them back to where they came from, which again is Brooklyn.
Yeah.
She's from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
She is annoying. She is obnoxious. I don't care for her. But she's from Brooklyn, and she's an American, and that has to be protected.
Yeah. It is true. It is, yeah, I mean, it's very, yeah. I mean, some things that Trump says, I can get behind him on. You know,
As
there's a lot of
trolling, yeah.
people who just kind of denounce everything he says.
Mm-hmm.
But this one,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's really no, I mean, whether or not it's racist is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just not a nice thing to say, regardless.
No.
So Trump,
It was
he
towards
did a bad.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, and Rashida Tlaib.
Mm-hmm.
I am horribly messing up that name, and I do apologize on that. You know, but as I was thinking through this, the kind of scripture that came to mind, it was 1 Peter 3:9 that do not repay evil for evil or reviling for reviling, but on the contrary, bless, because for this you were called, that you may obtain a blessing. I get Trump is trying to stir the pot and not be the standard politician, but to those of us that carry the faith, that isn't a strategy we can use, I don't think.
Yeah.
I can't get angry at a person I disagree on and then be as evil and nasty back towards them.
Right.
And that's been his style, and I think it's kind of hurting him.
Yeah. I mean, I do admire Trump's lack of political correctness.
Right.
I do super
Right.
admire that, and I think that's totally fine because,
Absolutely.
you know, get out with that.
Sure.
But, like,
I appreciate I never have to question what he's thinking.
yeah.
Because he tweets it.
Oh, man.
I haven't had my morning cup of cavaffe.
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 What?
That was like a year ago. He tweeted cavaffe. He didn't finish the tweet because it was like 4 a.m. Go to bed. And it was a misspelling. It wasn't even a finished tweet. It had cavaffe in it. And so, you know, no one really knows what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry. I cut you off and I apologize.
Oh, you're fine. It is definitely, you know, we as Christians need to be, I mean, it does come down to stewardship because think about it. I mean, everything we have is given by God,
Mm-hmm.
including words.
Yes.
And the Bible is very, you know, forward about how careful we need to be with words because they carry a lot of power.
Yeah.
And that's really what this is all about is like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we as Christians,
Mm-hmm.
we can't be throwing our words out there flauntlessly. Is that a word? Flauntlessly?
No, but I know what you're trying to say.
What is the word I'm trying to say? You guys know what I mean.
Yeah. Carelessly.
Carelessly. Yeah. I don't know.
We
didn't
can't be
go.
sending out careless whispers.
But it's
Everyone
It's a
who's
thing
born
that-
in the 80s just got that. Love you.
it's a thing that you know, we just got to be careful and very mindful of what
Right.
we are saying. And this is obviously not a case where that happened.
I know. As far as...
Well, honestly, sorry to cut you off.
no, you're
He
good.
could have been very mindful of what he's saying. I don't know where Trump is in his pathway to God, but he could have meant every word he said.
He gave his heart to Christ right before primaries publicly. So what do you do with that, right? Like,
Hey,
is
I'm
it
not
Christ
one
for
to-
political gain, or what's going on?
I mean, sure, that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
Can we judge people who have claimed that?
Yes.
Judge them by their fruits, but also
Mhm.
Jesus is the one who judges.
Right. It's our job to grace the
Love.
heck out of people.
Yeah.
But
So,
I mean,
no comment on that.
oh, I'll comment on it. Close in here, camera. Oh, it's not even recording. Whatever. But it's I tend to be a bit different than a few of the conservative commentators as far as inciting people to action. They don't. I mean, Ben Shapiro has a pretty consistent standard on that. That it has to be a call to action that is getting people to do a thing. It's calling them to do a thing. It isn't just going, hey, that person is terrible and something needs to be done about them. It's saying we need to rise up and do something about them. And there's a difference between that. But
Right.
personally, I get that from a legal perspective, but not from an ethics perspective.
Yeah.
You know, on an ethics perspective, the things I say have power. You know, just kind of similar to the thing that you said, our words do have power and influence, that I have to be able to account for everything that I say at the end of days. As
Yeah.
I'm standing before God, I have to account to everything I've said. And I think, although in some cases people don't call people to do things, they have inspired them to do that, and they may not need to change anything, but they have to understand that that's a thing.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know what
I
you mean.
mean, Trump is being a bully. He said some terrible things. He hasn't called to action, but he said horrible things. With that, though, is the accompanying increase in bigotry towards four people that are congresswomen, and
Yeah.
most important, created in the image of God, even if I disagree with everything they say and do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a thing. I mean, I know I've brought it up on the podcast. I mean, I say it a lot. It's love and gosh, what do I say? Love and not acceptance. Gosh, I'm completely blanking. Love and
Cake.
cake.
Uh-huh.
There, yeah,
Yes,
that's
love
it.
and cake.
Basically, I can explain it more than saying it, but just because, love and agreement don't go with each other. So just because we don't agree, it doesn't mean I can't extend love to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because half the people in my life, I don't agree with, like fundamental, things on, It may be religion or how I, use words or what type of camera they use. But it's that's not a fundamental thing. But
I'm sorry. Why'd you look at me right there? We don't have a camera on right now, which is my counterpoint. You want to go there, skinny man? Let's go.
wow,
My
okay.
dance card's open.
Okay, all right.
I'm not
You wanna
inciting
fight?
to violence, but someone should really hit you in the face.
But
See what I
basically,
mean?
what I'm trying to say is love, no matter what, should be extended to people. And, I think it takes a lot of practice, and it, for sure, if it's harder for me, I noticeably, if I am not connected with the word or praying, or
Right.
if I've, missed out on being at church community, because we have to stay connected with God and growing
Right.
for that to kind of be
Right.
extended properly. Because
Right.
when I'm not around any of that stuff and it's just it's me building up in my head over time, I just get really hateful and
Yeah.
sick of people
Yeah.
and really short with them, and it's not good.
No, it's not.
But if we're
I
consistently
agree with you.
like my mom is the best example. She's gonna hate me but love me for saying this.
Thanks, Karen.
But like
That's her actual name. I'm not like being
she
a
always
meme.
said or anytime she would like yell at us in the morning or anything or throughout the day, or if she was being short with us, she'd be like, man, it's It's because I didn't do my quiet time this morning. I knew I should have done it. And it is true for a lot of people. It does come down to like having that daily time. You know, like if you don't do that, then your day is kind of just like offset. But I think that's super important for Christians to be in the Word and growing so their fruits can be developed, or else it's going to be real hard to show love to people.
Absolutely. And I'd say out of everybody I disagree with, I probably disagree with myself the most. That's been the biggest struggle I have is I actually am in the mornings I had to switch from, comedy podcasts to sermons because I was starting off with comedy podcasts that are somewhat crass. And because of that, trash in, trash out. So I'd be a good steward of the things I'm shoving in the brain the first thing in the morning. And that's included. I did this morning. I was autopiloting because I had to be up at 5 a.m. because someone peed on the floor. Spoiler, it was Izzy. It wasn't me this time.
Ooh, got her.
So I'm cleaning at 5 a.m. and I go back to bed for 30 minutes. And I get up and the first thing I put on is a cringe compilation. And oh boy, howdy, that ruined my day. That's not how you want to start off your day, man.
Those are hilarious, though.
They are, but not first
highly
off.
recommend watching it.
It was angry customer cringe. I'm like, I was in a mood all day.
Yeah.
But I found that it's inside of a person is kind of great a potential to swing in either direction. And so the other story I was going to talk about today, can I go ahead and jump into that, or do you want to add anything else to Trump?
No, you go ahead.
Trump, clean it up. Speaking of cleaning things up, I wanted to talk about this a week ago, and then the U.S. women's national team went crazy, so we went for that, and that was a much better story. But people have been opening up ice cream cartons and licking them and putting them back.
Specifically Bluebell.
Yeah, it started off as Bluebell. They put it back, and they put it on a video for Snapchat. This then encouraged multiple copycat people to do the same thing for other brands of ice cream to scoop it out using their hands, a mouth wash, and various other things, and then they'd put it on Snapchat, Instagram, or any of that. Now, this gets scary because in 1982, there was the Tylenol murders in Chicago where somebody intentionally tampered with consumable products. And 7 people died. They had to call back 31 million bottles, and it cost over $100 million. So this first person that got caught doing the Bluebell thing.
Wait, that was Bluebell?
No, that was Tylenol in 82. So the ice cream thing, the person who kind of kicked off this whole challenge did get arrested because I've always said plan A is don't do a crime. Plan B is don't post said crime on the internet. Because as we talked about, they have your data. They know who you are. They will find you. And you didn't even make it hard because you tagged yourself.
Yeah.
But because of the Tylenol murders in Chicago of 1982, she could face up to 20 years in prison.
Rightfully so. I mean, like, I know it sounds harsh. But
food tampering, yeah.
Why? Yeah, why are you... I mean, first of all, it's just not right because you're, kind of ruining a product that you didn't even buy. And that hurts a lot of people.
It hurts Bluebell.
And it hurts the retailer and, a bunch of people. I mean...
Bluebell, it got to the point that they tweeted... Or no, they did more than that. They gave an official answer to this story going out because I think about 3 years ago they almost had gone bankrupt because they're a big company but they're not that big, and they had a health scare in their factory that they had to close down everything and clean it piece by piece and put it back in. Yeah. So they have just started to come out of that, and then they get this bad publicity that they're struggling as a company because of that.
Why? That's annoying.
It is.
Like, why? Why?
Well, what I'm about to say next is going to blow your mind. Not to be outdone, Jacksonville 904 Duval school.
Oh,
we
gosh.
made the news on kind of a copycat thing. What happened is a woman.
Uh-huh.
No, I see you moving it, but I see me talking. A mom took her kid to the doctors, and then the girl took out a tongue depressor, licked it, and put it back in the tongue depressor jar in the doctor's office where doctors are.
Yeah.
Now, there are like 3 news channels in Jacksonville for people who aren't from Jacksonville. The first is News for Jacks. They blurred out the picture of the mom because the mom asked to not be identified. Then there's Action News Jacks, who Action News Jacks don't give a rip about nobody because they published her name as Corey Ward. Because she told News for Jacks, please don't identify me. And I think she forgot to tell that to Action News Jacks. And they're like, her name's Corey. The mom has since also been arrested because she filmed it.
The mom filmed
The
it?
mom filmed it and then tried to justify it
That
as...
sounds like a
Well, I took him out and
Jacksonville thing.
threw him away after. And it's just... I was thinking through this and it's such a small thing.
Well, like,
mean-
why? Why did she do that?
I don't know. That's the thing. It's such a small thing, though.
It's definitely a
it's gross.
Jacksonville thing, though.
It's gross. It's a health hazard. It's all those things. And then I asked that question of, okay, why didn't the mom do this? Or stop this? And why film it?
Right.
Why post it? Why do all these things? And in her head, it was just this small kind of a prank of a moment that could cost her a decade in prison.
Yeah.
Now, to be honest, I hope they're lenient because it's a stupid thing. It's a dangerous thing. It's a hazard. All that, I get it, but it's a stupid thing.
Yeah.
But the more I thought about it, it was this idea that, and I've been thinking through this a bit, that inside of all of us is the potential to do great things, and that's either great evil or great good. And I mean, there isn't a fundamental difference in my being and person that is different than Mother Teresa and Adolf Hitler. Both those people are just people.
Right.
And I was thinking through that, and to be honest, I got kind of scared of giving into sin. It's a slide down. That the more I give in, the more boundaries I push, the more things that occur, the farther off I end up. And I don't think people wake up in this massive amount of sin. I think they get there over time, and that this stresses the importance of dying to our flesh and dying to the things we think we need in order to come alive to Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it scared me a bit because these are just normal people. I could have been the guy doing the ice cream thing. Now, granted, I'm not going to, but I mean, that isn't a hardened
you doing
criminal.
that. Yeah.
That's a person that wanted 15 minutes of fame and would trade anything for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. The power of sin is to me, it's scary.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would say it's really not the power of sin, but just kind of the flesh, which I guess you could argue is sin.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I mean, and the temptation that comes from it is actually
Right.
crazy. I mean, like, I'm still like astounded, like, constantly by the temptations that we go through and how just like crazy difficult a small little thing will be.
Right.
And it's really, I mean, it's scary, and it shows, how, I mean, it just gives me a lot of, I guess, admiration for people
Right.
who, for Christians, and that we get to do this together,
Right.
and ultimately, it's because of God.
Right.
But also, I think it's super important to recognize those temptations and how real they are, and how sin affects us. To understand the urgency and the
Right.
just to have a heart for the lost.
Sure.
And that's super
You know, the
big.
gosh, I was not. This isn't in the notes, so I apologize for even going here. The thing that I've thought about a ton, just because it seems to come up every week, and as a person who is in student ministry, kids ministry, that kind of thing, these are things I have to know that they're going on. But you know, the teachers that they engage in sexual behavior with their students. There's a big case that's going to court now where a teacher had sex multiple times with their 13-year-old student.
Whoa.
And it's 26 and 13.
Wasn't expecting that.
No. And they had a person keep a watch outside the door because they did it on school grounds, just that kind of stuff. And every time I go through these stories, I just stop and think, it's like, how do you get to that point of going that far? That's the thing I've always questioned, because everyone knows that's wrong.
I mean,
nobody questions that's okay, but
right.
still,
But honestly,
you know,
for me, I can kind of see, like I said, if you examine, that's why I think it's super important to be mindful of the flesh and how daily it is pushing against your grain, because that's I can definitely, in my mind, I mean, I'm not sure about you, I can definitely kind of grasp on how you'd get to that point, because it is gradual, like you were saying, and that's what's terrifying about it. Slowly crawling.
In 1 Corinthians 5, verse number 6, it says, "Your boasting is not good. Do you not know that a little leaven leavens the entire lump? Cleanse out the old leaven so that you may be a new lump, as you really are unleavened." And I think this is the effect of engaging in any kind of sin, is that it always comes off as just this small press of a boundary that it creates a growth kind of effect. You know, that small thing grows into this greater thing that I can't control. I mean, have you ever made bread?
Yes.
A little bit of yeast does amazing things, and that all depends on the type of stuff that's in there. If it's the yeast of flesh, then that's going to grow, and it's not going to be satisfying. It's going to keep growing. But if it's the leaven that comes out of God, then that's going to grow, and it pushes people towards the extremes, because I don't think people get to just stay put. I think it's very hard to stay put.
Exactly.
And probably the scariest and the hopeful thing that I've been thinking about, that's kind of got me a little bit messed up, is the things I've struggled through in the past that I'm actually doing pretty good in. There's a lot of hope in that. And the thing that terrifies me are the things I'm struggling through that I still don't seem to have a handle on.
Yeah.
And that terrifies me, because I'm trying to put to death the flesh, but to be honest, part of me doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the most honest I can be about that. Part of me doesn't want to give it up.
That is something, I mean, I think everyone struggles with. It is, I mean, I see the flesh is honestly, if we do nothing, if we don't pray to God, read our Bible and stuff. Honestly, the picture that comes to my mind is, I remember like a year ago, the volcano that erupted in Hawaii, and it was just lava.
Yeah.
It was super, I mean, it was crawling incredibly slow.
Yep.
But it consumed towns.
Right.
Like,
because how do you stop it?
Exactly. That's where I think God is ultimately what comes in, because if we don't have that daily stuff, like I was saying before, if you're not a part of a church community, if you're not reading your Bible, if you're not praying to God, it is like lava slowly but surely going to destroy your whole life. And God is ultimately the only thing that
Mm-hmm.
can stop. I mean, and it takes a ton of trust.
Right.
Because to me, I look at it sometimes. I'm like, how can, you know, God be the thing that is going to stop this temptation?
Right.
But it is incredible, reading the Bible and just getting that
Mm-hmm.
just incredible encouragement. It's insane what God can do through His Word and through
Right.
prayer, or even from people speaking life into you from
Right.
your different communities in life.
The power of falling into sin is great, but the power of God is even greater.
Yeah,
God can stop the slow moving lava, and I mean, to God, it's kind of the same thing. This is a really bad example I use all the time.
let's hear it. Come on, Danny. I'm believing
It'd be
you.
like the Jacksonville Jaguars playing against the Florida School for the Blind and Deaf. No, I'm not proud of myself.
Oh my gosh, that was a lot worse than I thought it'd be. To be
Yeah.
honest here.
Okay, actually, no joke. They got a good football team. They're somehow. Seriously, I don't know how. They're pretty good though.
Oh, this is terrible.
I'm not going to say anything else because I'm already really on that line.
Yeah,
or,
you're on the line.
or kind of the same thing as the Jacksonville Jags playing a preschool football team in full contact tackle.
Yeah.
I think
There
we
we go.
know
That's
who's going to win before the game actually starts. I mean,
The preschoolers.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right? Come on, boys.
Because the Jaguars are terrible. Actually, no, they're doing pretty good.
Is it a building year? It's a building year. Is it a building year?
I don't know anything.
Oh yeah,
about
we don't know
football.
sports. Sports ball.
Sports.
But it's to God, that's the type of fight that it is. That I mean, all right. Middle school sports have always been fun to go to, partially because some people have hit puberty and some haven't. But it's still a battle. It's a battle between two teams that don't really know what they're doing, but they're trying their best, and it's a battle because they're all at about the same place. Now, granted, some people hit that growth spurt first, and you got sixth graders on the football field, full beard, shaving, and all that, and you're like, someone needs to test that. Man, he doping. And then others that are like 3'2" actually saw that. It was crazy. They sent this kid out. This kid couldn't have been taller than 4'2", and they put him he was a lineman, and I'm like, this kid's gonna die. But anyway, it was still a close game. Weird, but to
Yeah.
God, that's us trying to fight our sin. Is that I can maybe make a bit of headway and push by and kind of push back a bit, but when God takes that field, things are different, and all I have to do is get out of God's way.
Right.
And I think that's part of the idea of dying to the flesh, that although I crave these things, although I want these things, I have to make the choice to want God more, and
Right.
sometimes to tell myself over and over that I want God more until it's actually true.
Yeah.
It isn't claiming that the sin I'm struggling through it isn't fun or any of that, because it is fun. It's immensely fun, or I wouldn't do it. But that God is more.
Yeah.
And I need God more than I need this sin, because this sin is going to lead me down a path that I am not able to go down and live.
Yeah. For sure. It it's crazy. It really
Yeah.
is. It's it is extremely, I see all of these lost people, and I see these people who are living in sin, and I would be lying if I didn't say that life looks pretty good, because it's easy. It is
Since-
not one with hardship, really.
Right. And sin is fun but deadly.
Exactly. It is eventually it's fleeting. The fun is fleeting.
Absolutely. It's temporary.
But
Yeah.
if we work for it and ultimately have God working with us, because it's impossible otherwise, we are going to have a life that is ultimately satisfying
Mm-hmm.
and going to continue to be satisfying in heaven
Mm-hmm.
forever
Right.
with God.
Right.
And that's
Eternal
super
joy.
exciting.
It's worth trading temporary happiness for eternal joy.
Right. Yeah.
And some days I believe that.
Yeah. For being honest.
Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's the honest. It's like, I know that to be true here, and the journey from head to heart is kind of it's a real hard journey some days, so.
Yeah.
But we persevere.
Yes,
and
we
do
do.
our best and hold each other accountable and be honest about our stuff.
Yeah.
Caleb, speaking of stuff,
Speaking of stuff.
if people have stuff they want to ask us, see, stuff is such a great transition.
Are we not going to read this Bible verse? It's such a good one.
I am going to be honest, I didn't see it despite the fact that I'm zoomed
Let's
in
close
on it.
out with the Bible verse real quick. I'll read it if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
So basically, Danny put this in here, but it's what does it mean to put
Which is more sad that I forgot about it.
yeah. What does it mean to put flesh to death? So this is kind of a Bible verse talking about that. This is from Galatians 5:22 through 26, ESV, the best version. Fight me.
What did Kevin DeYoung called it? The Lex standard version or something? I love you, Kevin DeYoung.
Gosh.
Even though you speak boring, he says it. He says it.
Whoa.
He knows he does. He's a brilliant preacher.
Gosh.
I'm sorry, Kevin, but both of us graduated from the same school. Call me. He's not listening.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to read this verse now.
Sorry.
Is that all right with you, Danny? All right. And those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. If we live by the Spirit, let us also keep in step with the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another. Boom. I mean, that went a bit more in depth than we did.
Mhm.
It's super good.
I did the blog series on the fruit of the Spirit that
Uh-huh.
took a bit of time. That was always good, and people should check that out.
Plug.
Yeah. Yes. No, it's a good series. It's gosh, what are there, like 7 of those? So it's like 21 weeks or something. It's some crazy amount, but
Yeah.
it was good to kind of unpack those and figure out the things that those do and how they're expressed. But the important part of those is that this is the expression of the Spirit in a person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do patience in order to be saved. I am patient because I am saved.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the evidence of a person that has been affected by the Holy Spirit. And if I am to quote unquote judge, and not be judgmental, but judge based on the fruit of a person, these are the fruits I take a peek at.
Right.
I mean, going back to the Trump thing, the problem in that statement, and I do feel Trump is a work in progress. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of the little engine that could. He's making slow progress.
Yeah.
One day he didn't tweet something, and all of America went, "Oh, thank you, Lord." But these past statements that he made, I wouldn't say there's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, or self-control in it.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, in that moment, that was not a Spirit-filled moment.
Yeah.
And I'm fine saying that. And, you know, to kind of tie everything together, there is this aspect that all of us, and not to just pile on Trump, but watching this play out is an opportunity that all of us can take to take a peek into our own stuff and to see, am I expressing the Spirit of God that is in me, and where do I need more of the Spirit of God? It's easy to point a finger at him and say, orange man bad, but take a moment and kind of determine, is me bad?
Yeah.
I was hoping that would come out catchier, and it just didn't.
Is me bad?
Is me bad?
Yeah.
That's our next shirt. Is me bad?
Yes, me is bad.
Also, at the age of 34, this is just a side note. At the age of 34, I finally got to the point that I could say the fruit of the Spirit without doing it in song.
Wow.
So thanks to my children's minister, you got me this far.
Yeah.
Diane, what's up, Diane?
Yeah.
I still know her, by the way. She's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Diane Owsley. She knows everyone. I doxed her. Whatever. She's amazing. Friend her. Or don't. Or I'll bleep this. I have no idea. We'll
Danny's
see how I
looking
feel.
at the camera and it's
I know. I'm
hilarious.
jimming the camera. I only do this when it's off.
All right. I'm going to ask it to you. Where can they find us and ask us questions, Danny?
Well, if they want to ask us questions, go to thegospeloutpost.com/nobodyspecial. There's a form at the bottom. Just fill it in. Ask us a question. I'm going to double check that the form is working just because sometimes it doesn't, but I'm pretty sure we're doing fine.
That is true. What if we have like 50 questions that we just haven't gotten?
It happened, and again,
Yeah, it did happen.
I'm so sorry, Matthew, if you're still listening
his
to the
name?
show. Yeah, his name was Matthew.
Oh.
I'm so sorry, Matthew, because we missed this question for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then I still don't think we even answered it. Thanks for your question, Matthew.
No, we answered
anyway,
I remember.
or they can go to facebook.com/nobodyspecialpodcast, instagram.com/nobodyspecialpodcast, youtube.com/the gospel output. You know, you're going to have to Google that one. I don't have a dedicated channel yet.
Also, Instagram.com. That's hilarious that you just said that.
You can go to
I know,
instagram.com
no one's doing that, though.
podcast. I do it.
That's because you're 34 years old.
No, it's because I do it at work. No, kidding.
Yeah.
And just be positive and smash that like button. No.
Oh, gosh, that was a mess.
For 500 thumbs up, we'll do a prank. No, we won't. Well, we won't.
That was disgusting.
It really is. I
I
saw a
never want
YouTuber
to
do that, and I
see
went, ugh. But we are on YouTube, so check us out there. And if there's anything that
There'll only
you
be
want us to
about,
talk about,
5 minutes of video on this episode, but, you know, we tried.
right? Yeah. Oops. So, but I think that is going to do it for us today.
Yes.
So, Caleb, I'm Danny.
And I'm Caleb.
And we are
Nobody
Nobody
Special.
Special.